At some point, as you're coding your app, you're going to run into the dreaded bug in your program. It will probably look something like this. You click the Run button, and then you see this horrible screen with this in no way useful message. Don't fret. There are some steps we can take to try and clear up these errors, and they might help you avoid needing to request help. First, we are going to want to restore our storyboard view, and we're going to do that by clicking on the Show Project Navigator button, and then clicking on the main.storyboard item in the project. That'll restore our view so that we can see our storyboard again. Now, we have to do some investigation to start trying to isolate the potential problem or problems, which is likely. First, we're going to go to each object in our storyboard and examine the connections that that object is showing. We do that by right-clicking on the object until we see this pop-up menu. Now, in this pop-up menu, it shows all of the outlets that you currently have connected. Each outlet should only have one connection. And you'll notice in this box, it shows two connections to my view controller. One that says Hello World Label Outlet and one that says My Label Outlet. Now at this point you have two options. You can go ahead and get rid of any connections that you don't think should be there, and remember you should only be left with one when you're done. Or, which is often the easier option, is get rid of all the connections, close the dialog box by clicking the little X, and then you can simply restore the connection that you actually want. I know that this label right here is supposed to be connected to this outlet over here. So I will right-click on it and drag my blue line over to the name of the label, and that will create or recreate a connection between those two items. And you'll notice I now have a black dot again connecting those two items. And again, if I go and right-click and view it, I can see now that it only shows one connection, which is the way it's supposed to be. Now, I can try running my application again and see if that fixed my problem. Well, the application started up this time, so I'll try hitting my button and see what happens. Uh-oh, I'm right back where I started. I've got another error I've got to track down. So again, I'm going to click on the Project Navigator, Show Project Navigator button, click on my main storyboard, and this time I'm going to investigate that button that caused the problem. So I'm going to right-click on it, and I can see here it also has multiple touch-up inside actions tied to it. And just as I said before, for now at least, it should only really ever have one. So I'm going to use the simple solution of getting rid of all the connections. And I'll call your attention to something. You'll notice now that this white dot here is no longer filled in. You'll notice that when I hover over this dot, it highlights the label. When I hover over this dot, which is empty, it doesn't highlight anything over here in my storyboard. But now that I've broken the connections, it's really easy to recreate that connection. So I'm going to right-click or control-click and drag over again until I'm on top of the name of the thing I'm trying to connect. And you'll see it highlights blue and it says Connect Action. And then I'm going to let go. And now I've created that connection again. So it's time to test and see if that fixed all the problems in this app. And hey, look at that. We seem to have fixed the problems. However, this won't always fix all of your problems. Let me demonstrate an easy way that a new problem gets created. Let's say that I realized that this Hello World label was not properly named, and so I go ahead and I change it to say, oh, I don't know, let's say Hello World My Label. Okay, and that means I also have to change it here, and I have to change it here, And then I look at it and I say, oh, but that's not connected anymore. So I'm going to reconnect my label. And for some reason, it's not showing that connection. So I right-click. Oh, and I see I've got two connections here. So try and connect it again. Still have two connections here, and if I run my program, I'll find that it won't, in fact, work. Okay. Now, I could try the same thing we did before, which is to simply go back here and clear these connections out, and then reconnect my outlet, and that should fix things up. Let's see if it did. And that seems to have done it. So again, you want to check your connections. Now, that won't always fix all of the problems that might occur, so stay tuned for the second in this Debugging Your App series, where we'll get into what you do if trying these fixes doesn't resolve your problem. There's a further step you can take.